yesterday we did the entire show live on location from Deep Ellum, and we interviewed a vandal.
A gentleman.
A painter vandal.
An artiste.
We have to go to... Can Gibbon tell the story?
Yeah, please.
What happened? Please. Tokenawan is our guy here. Gibbon. He is Tokenawan. When he was calling, before we get to the rest of the story, when he was calling because the man... and I'll tell you why I was suspicious that this was vandalism that was unauthorized, despite the white knight who came in who was part of a non-elected, non-official city commission. Tokenawan did call the police to be like, hey, I think someone's vandalizing here, and this is getting a little, we were getting surrounded by cars for people who don't know as well. Yeah. So that was really the reason, was we wanted to be careful, and Tokenawan had to tell him what the phone call was like.
Yeah, so you're talking to this gentleman, and he's trying to talk about how all white people are saying, oh, it's a black guy when they call the cops, and you're saying, well, no, it's not. That's not everyone. You know?
And he got in your head.
He got in my head. So I'm on the phone with the local police station, and I'm like, hi, I'd like to report there's an act of vandalism going on at these streets. Yeah. This is what the building looks like. And
the building. There's a person.
Looks like perhaps an old brownstone.
Yeah. So I just said, there's this gentleman and he is painting on the wall.
Like he's wearing a hat and tails.
And
the planner's Peanut Man is back.
Dang it.
We got him last time. We'll be right there.
The operator is like, okay. So what's this gentleman look like? I'm like,
dang it. What do I say? He's very handsome. He's a good-looking guy.
Very
Looks
handsome.
like he works out.
Are you familiar with Bring the Ruckus?
Ethnic, urban.
guy who does the third verse.
Okay, so she asked, and then how do you respond?
So I kind of dance around, and she wants me to cut to the point. Is he white, black, Hispanic? And I was just, and by the way, like the guy's within earshot. So I'm like,
he's like right there.
He's black gentleman.
Right. He's within earshot, and you were acting out his major grievance.
Yeah,
exactly. She's like, can you describe him? Like, what does he look like? What kind of clothes? Well, he's not wearing a shirt.
I just want to be clear. Not every black person is standing on this corner.
Is he white? Is he black? Yes. What kind of clothes is he wearing? Negative.
No.
Maybe.
None up top.
That's
I'm sorry.
There's a hair wrap covering.
Ma'am, I choose not to think in terms of color.
He's an artist, though.
At least he wore the hairnet.
Yeah.
While painting, because that's important.
Hey, you gotta keep it down, right?
So speaking of people who are afraid, thank you, Tokenawan.
That's hilarious.
So yesterday we caught, this is for people who don't remember, we found out who the guy was, Gabriel Thomas, who I guess is a well-known street vandal. And he was the one who was vandalizing this business out there. Well, here's the thing. I had the suspicion that it wasn't fully authorized because he was acting a little bit shifty, and when I asked him, he just went off about white people. Well, we did a little bit of digging, both on that, what was it, Deep Ellum community, whatever. I'll talk about that kind of stuff.
Community council?
Turns out that this street vandal had done this before, several times. So he did it once in April, and that was, in fact, not authorized, okay? But it wasn't necessarily political. It was painted over. Then he did another one more recently, which was also not authorized. I think we have this here. Yeah, that was another one right there.
He's wearing a shirt?
Yeah, he's wearing a shirt there. Well, you know what? Baby steps. And that was not authorized. How do I know it wasn't authorized? Well, it was promptly painted over.
Yeah.
And the business owner did not authorize it because the business owner doesn't want political statements on his business.
Right.
You may say it's plywood because you kicked in the windows. That being said, you shouldn't have kicked in the windows, A. B, don't paint on the guy's business, especially if you see that they paint it over.
Right.
So then, after that, when I was there, he painted another mural, I guess, with the hashtag Justice for DeSoto is what he was painting. Here's what's most offensive. The guy's name is Modesto Reyes. And again, this guy didn't even know about the story when we talked about it. He said, well, the cop said he had a gun, but he said he said he had a cell phone. I'm like, well, was he shot dead? How did he say it? Because I read it.
It must be true.
I saw it on BuzzFeed. So he didn't even correctly spell the name of the fallen hero who he's honoring. Could you imagine if I just came out and instead of saying David Dorn, I was like, yes, Jeremy Horn.
No, it
Remember Jeremy Horn. You get the hashtag on, which, by the way, every single hashtag on Black Lives Matter except for yesterday was misspelled.
It's been wrong
one had
this
one
whole
T,
time.
one had 3 T's and 2 E's.
What? Yeah. That's pretty good.
That's crazy.
So then we were confronted by this guy who said he was a part of the community association, Chris Llewellyn. He's the second vice president of the Deep Ellum
second
community.
vice president?
Well, you know what? Play your cards right.
What does that mean?
One day.
You might be president pro temporum someday.
Yeah, what like associate? No, that sounds stupid. Second vice president.
And here's
let's
what
call him that.
matters to me is he came up there and he insisted that no, we have permission. Remember, I kept asking him. I said, "Well,
Yeah.
what's the business owner's name? What's it?"
Right.
That's why I wanted to.
That's who gets to say yes or no.
And the reason I also called the police was again because we were being circled by other cars. If you look at that
Yeah.
footage, you see Johnny Boy holding up a camera. So we were a little bit nervous. We wanted to make sure that we were safe, but also I knew it would piss the gentleman off because he hates cops, and I also knew that this clearly wasn't authorized. So this little bearded, again, shaved head beard. I don't know when you start the beard. What's the sideburn rule? If we have sideburn guys have rules, I don't know. It's just
know,
chaos.
yeah.
It's anarchy.
a secret
Just
society.
like your riots. So this guy at the city commission.
What's for you,
What
Wade?
was his name? I want to make sure I get the name right. Christopher Llewellyn. He goes, no, this guy has my permission. But he doesn't have the business owner's permission.
Yeah.
Who the hell are you?
And then he goes, I'm
Yeah,
part of
exactly.
the Deep Ellum Community Association. Are you an elected governing body? No, he was not.
Self-appointed.
And this is what I think is, and I want to make sure I get all these names correct, because then, of course, I was compared to a Nazi. These things were posted on social media. You have the right to protest. Okay, I want to be clear about this. Why do I line up where I do? You have the right to protest.
Agreed.
You have the right to speak. You do not have the right to vandalize somebody else's property. And this is something that really bothers me when people say this a lot. It's like, well, man, Constitution, freedom of expression. Oh. I don't think you have a Constitution, but there's an app, and I can download it with you, just like a teacher checking your work. Depending on your effort, you're still going to get an F. Find it. Freedom of expression.
I'll wait.
Freedom of expression is not protected. And what's so crazy, and this matters because this shows people who are out there protesting and they're vandalizing, and they think it's a constitutionally protected right, and they think it's a race thing when people like us are out there with, or people with rifles even, who are out there speaking. You have the right to speak. Freedom of expression is not a constitutionally protected right because one person's freedom of expression might be going out and speaking, the other person's might be putting a crucifix in someone's urine, and the other person's freedom of expression might be vandalizing somebody else's property. You can't put everything under this constitutionally protected right of expression because it doesn't exist. It applies to speech, non-violent speech exclusively. That shouldn't be hard to understand. And then the entitlement I want to talk about at the Deep Ellum situation. You have the vandal, and he says, white people up there in the penthouse, we sparing you. What? You're sparing us? Yeah. Wait, can you imagine that? That means that this person feels entitled to take someone else's life. Why? Based on their race.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an Oliver Stone film. For crying out loud. We're sparing you. Hold on a second. You think that you have the right to take my life because I'm white, penthouse or not? A lot of white people live in trailer parks, by the way. A lot of white people at the dinner table, and they don't have any food. There are a lot of white people across this country who are starving. Like that white homeless guy who your buddies took a friendly selfie in front of while his mattress was being burned to the ground, not by InfoWars, despite the trend for 9 hours.
Yeah.
Thanks, Twitter, and your fact-checking bullshit. So, let's be really clear about this.
And if the business owner wants that mural out there, fine. It's not community property. That building does not belong to the community.
No.
It belongs to the person that owns it.
Again, entitlement. How do you feel entitled to vandalize somebody else's property? Well, we understand this one gentleman, to use Token Allen's phrase, feels entitled to take someone's life. So, thank you for being merciful, Street Vandal, who can't even get the portrait's name right.
Yeah.
Desto.
Yeah, what am I supposed to say thank you?
Thank you.
Thank you
for not
sparing
killing me. It's like, today I woke up, I was thinking raping the shit out of you. But then I was like, nah.
I'll just paint.
Thanks so much.
See, you're a softie at heart. Nah, I think I'll rape you. Okay.
All right.
It's real. He said he was sparing our lives. And then you go to the entitlement of the white knight who comes in saying, well, he has my permission. You don't own anything. Yeah. People who don't work and don't own anything don't have the right to determine what someone else does with their property, including if they shoot you while you're on their property. That's constitutionally protected. The right to protect your home, the right to protect your person, the right to speak. Freedom of expression is not protected. I want to be really clear about that, and I want to bring in Smooth Manny because we were planning, I want to let you know, we were planning on going and then doing the business owner's work because they painted over this several times, and they don't have the time to paint over it every day.
Yeah. Sure.
And we wanted to go in and just get a roller,
Give him a little cover.
send in Bob Ross to paint it up, to clean it.
There you go.
Get a couple buckets.
Bob
and-
needs to paint him some more. We need that.
And opinions here in the office, were mixed.
I don't know if that's the correct term.
It ended up last night.
you could say that,
I just sent out the message. I'm like, you guys are all pussies. All right, fine. I'm calling it off. And Smooth Manny, let's bring in Smooth Manny.
yeah.
Smooth Manny
Come on
was
in.
talking about this because Smooth Manny, wonderful. He was one, of course, our Jocko correspondent.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And he used to be a vandal.
Did he really?
He lived a very full life.
I think they call those taggers.
Yes.
now.
Is he not coming in?
He's coming
There
in.
he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
All right,
He's-
Smooth Manny,
he's
come
slow
on
Manny.
in. Come on in and sit over there. So Smooth Manny, by the way, again, this is a guy, and I have so much respect and love for Smooth Manny because he was a little pot smoking skater kid.
Oh.
And you wouldn't know it to look at him.
I know. I'd guess that.
He's accomplished. He's sharp. He's a great leader. You can stay there, audio way. You don't have to leave.
Oh, he's
So
gonna make it
Smooth
change.
Manny,
All right, yeah.
you had reservations about.
Wow. I don't know if you can say reservations, Stephen.
What can I not?
That's
Yeah.
That's a little touchy.
First Nations.
Yeah. So, that and
Oh, are we waiting to see if he's
Yeah,
on? We're waiting to see if his microphone is on.
That was me giving you a little
Yo,
cover.
snare. I don't got
So-
no snare.
Just jump to the other seat.
I guess just
Oh,
jump.
I heard it.
Oh, I heard it.
hit.
Manny, can you talk? Smooth Manny?
Yes.
Perfect.
Hey, there we go.
So opinions were mixed. That was our plan today. We didn't go down and whitewash the wall. You didn't seem too keen on it.
I thought it was a terrible idea.
Explain.
Why?
Explain why.
Why?
So first of all, you are correct in terms of whether
way to
you the constitutional law on private property.
Yes,
you're
and this signifies
You're
your earnest.
100% correct.
You know all that stuff.
However,
John Adams once
we've seen footage of people being killed over a television,
Right.
and that's not even personal.
That wasn't your primary gripe, though.
Well, no, I think people are going to take it to erase the art. It's a disrespect.
There it is.
yeah,
there we go, there we go.
Yes.
Disrespect.
It
And
is.
you use the term street rep.
Yes, but people kill for that. That's my point.
Right. But you were
Yes.
saying, but you just said it's disrespectful to the art.
No, it's disrespectful to them.
Can I ask a
Like
question?
they
them.
perceive it
Yes,
that way.
they perceive
Yeah,
it that
I have
like,
a question.
Yeah.
What is the difference between art and vandalism when both are on the outside of a building? Who gets to decide which is which?
If one is illegal, then it's vandalism.
Okay,
and
so
if,
why did
if
you-
one
hold on.
has permission, then it's art.
Hold on. Why
Right.
did you call it art then just a second ago?
You did. You did.
I did. Okay. No, hold on. It's both. It can
not-
be.
I say they're
It's
both. They're
binary.
both
It can
art,
be
just
art.
one's illegal.
It doesn't matter if it's illegal
Well, no,
or not.
people will use it as the term art. They'll say, hey, this is art. You can't take that down. It's-
Right.
Okay,
No,
well,
that's not
it's
true.
specifically vandalism. You may think it's artistic because, like you said, I can go piss on the wall and
Yeah.
do it in bright Technicolor and say
Right.
that's art.
You might
And-
need to go to the doctor for
Yeah,
that.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's food coloring.
I can
It's
fart
okay.
into your
okay.
non-permeable pillowcase, wrap it up, and
Yeah.
consider it a statement. But
It's
I don't
not
think
really
something,
art.
Something can be art and vandalism.
Yeah,
like if
that's my
Leonardo,
point.
That's
if
what I was
Leonardo
saying.
da Vinci painted on somebody else's wall, it would still be art. but it-
Exactly.
No, but I'm saying
like
that
to
the
see
term
him
is
with a
used.
neon
The term
belly.
is used so that you won't remove something. The term is used not just saying it's art in general. It's saying it's art. You can't remove it.
Right.
Right. So I'm just dispelling that a little bit.
Right, but I was just because you at first seemed like, well, first to be clear, he was the one requested to go do it because I know that
Did he really?
you had lived a previous life where you might have engaged in such activities.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's got the
for
skills.
sure.
I'm trying to not incriminate him. He's like, oh, for sure, I stole TVs.
Yeah. I think I was on video 2
I'm
nights ago.
trying to rehabilitate the public perception of Colombians.
Whoa. Good luck with that.
Yeah, long road ahead.
That's a longer show than we have time for, Stephen.
This is kind of a side note, but one time my sister was really upset because in some movie they mentioned Colombian drugs, and she was like, "Why do they always?" And I'm like, "We're from Colombia."
You know.
Like, are you serious right now?
Right. Okay. So you had reservations because you were first requested, and then we do have to get going here, but I wanted to bring him in. Now, I want to be clear. Do you think that was it a safety issue, or you also seem to think it might harm my street reputation because it was ruining his art?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely a safety issue because again, like if you erase, someone tags up a thing. And actually, I sent overlay to studio.
Yeah, Steven, I actually have Manny's street cred right
Yeah,
here. and
so
it's Bob Ross.
Oh, wow.
Look at that kid.
Oh my gosh.
Hi guys.
Wait,
Can I
did
get
you
a
get
picture?
Did you get a D perm?
That's just my
Or was
hair.
it just so many years of swirlies?
Yeah, just so many years, just an accumulation.
Then if he goes to Australia, it goes back.
Oh, that's interesting.
Weird.
Because
The
you
other
know what,
way.
they're upside down.
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
it.
It's actually a myth about
The other
swirlies. Yeah.
So, and there was another picture of
Let me see.
So this,
Yeah,
this
there's
right
another picture.
we have another picture of Smooth Manny.
of
bringing
the
it
not of me, just so okay. So when
So
people
you
do
did
that
that.
stuff, people that I might know, What I've been informed is if someone erases that, whether it's the name or an image, it is taken as a sign of
disrespect,
Like
a personal slight. And that's
Nice.
it, like turf wars, basically.
Nice.
So there's people that legitimately kill people for
they don't
that.
see it as a personal slight against the business owner.
No, they don't care about the business owner.
Yeah.
So why should we care about them? So get me to the street rep portion.
The street rep is
Because you seem concerned about that.
well, also it's a little lame, I think. Because here's the thing: it's
with Manny on
different.
that.
It's different if we're walking there and it's a brick wall, and they're just spray painted the wall itself. I understand the plywood is there because of the riots, but they
hilarious.
could just remove the plywood.
Yeah.
I
Put new plywood
understand
up.
that it's still the businesses.
There's a shortage of plywood.
It's still the businesses.
What?
It's still their
There's so
money.
much plywood right now. Some stores don't have plywood.
Right.
That's interesting. I'm gonna buy some stock in
understand.
plywood.
Like they
You know what? I
Wait, just
was
start a
trying to get
monopoly?
you painter overalls yesterday. They were all sold out.
All paint overalls.
All paint overalls were sold out.
We need to
I guess
look
the
into
Mario lookalike convention is screwed.
we need to look into big plywood.
Yeah, we
see
need to
what's
look into
going
big
on
plywood.
here.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Yeah.
you thought it was lame, but here's the thing: the business had painted over it 3 times. If someone comes into our business here and puts up a picture of Donald Trump as Hitler, I'm going to get rid of that.
You're not wrong.
Right. But why do you care about it? I think it's you know what I think is lame a little bit, and I say this is to care about hooligans and their perceptions of street rep. Why do you care?
It's not that I'm like I wake up and I'm concerned about what they're gonna think of me, but I can see it in their way, and I'm like, well, I'm seeing both sides at the same time.
You like Pinochet.
I don't know about. I think like is kind of an
But
extreme
Manny,
word.
being from Colombia, seeing like the radical Marxists is definitely. I think it would be fair to say you're definitely the most far right here.
In terms of more anarchist and believes less in the state, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for some reason, you see it from their perspective when they're vandalizing someone else's personal property.
And they're wrong, but I can still see, I can literally perceive it as how it would come off like, oh, this guy, not only
Right.
did he erase this black man's painting with a white paint,
I couldn't care
trying to
less.
keep
I
him
couldn't care
down.
less.
we can
like
go
the
black
optics-
primer. That's fine.
It's
Yeah, black
returning
primer.
it to its original color.
Like the optics of it just seem awful. And on top of that, you add like a personal slide for like you know how much street cred that guy would get to like sucker punch you behind
Yeah, it's true.
while you're doing
Yeah.
change my mind somewhere else or just a quick
Yeah, but
stab.
well, that's what I was like, I appreciate the security issue, but that wasn't your primary gripe. You didn't want to do it because of the street rep.
I think both things. It's like a Venn diagram.
What I'm saying, but why do you
same
care
time.
about street rep? You have a daughter.
I don't care about the street
You shouldn't
rep. I'm
care
not
about
out there
these
doing
people.
that.
They don't matter. Their opinions, they don't matter if they're out there committing crimes.
We
But-
should
yeah.
just know how it will be perceived. That's all.
But you granted
It
it, would
won't
be
be
like a
perce-
tactical mistake.
Why, security-wise.
Sure.
That's why, well, I would have done it, but I understood that everyone here was afraid, and so I didn't want to go do it.
I was not a part of this
fine with
conversation.
it.
Hey, Tokenawan and I
I
were
was
ready
totally
to
fine
get
with
up
it.
at sunrise. I know, you're a gamer.
Yeah, I'm down.
You are a gamer.
I'm down.
But the next time I
get
hear
on the
everyone here
phone.
talking
We're gonna
about
have to do it,
revolution, and I say, I want to go with a Bob Ross wig and a couple of rollers, you're like, I don't know, guys. I don't think, I knew I should have stayed home today. I am going to call every single one of you out. But
That's a good impression of me.
It is.
That's
It's
good.
pretty good.
I have hundreds of dollars of painting supplies in my country. that I need to return.
I know.
Thanks, Manny.
I
Ready to
know.
go.
He went there last night to get it to the point where I said, Tokenawan, take a half day.
Yeah. Wow.
I agree with the security issue. I just was very surprised to see that you care what criminals think.
I think it would be cooler to, instead of erasing it and cleaning it, which can come off as lame,
Sure.
go and do your own mural.
Yeah.
It's still
You
illegal.
did another crime.
I'm down with that.
It's still illegal,
you
and it's
moron.
still, and it's still a
still
slide,
crime.
and it's even more dangerous. But it would be less lame.
Oh my God.
Just talk to
I
the
don't
owner.
understand what just happened here.
No, look, you just talk to the owner.
You can take the Columbia out of the boy.
Yeah. I don't understand. What you need
Listen,
to do.
I think it would be really lame to help a business owner by cleaning it up so he doesn't have to do it for a 4th time. I think you might be perceived as kind of lame. What would be cooler is if you go and committed a misdemeanor.
No. You go paint
I
the other
agree with
wall
that.
next to it another color.
Just do the same thing.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think Manny's crazy.
I don't think he's crazy. I was just very surprised. Are you still out there tagging? Is that what you're doing?
No,
Be honest.
definitely not.
If I find out, I am going to.
I am not.
Did you tag
And by
your
the
daughter's
way,
bedroom?
Street rep. This is the thing that really bothers me too about the term street rep. respect, like you said, you were a small guy, right? Street rep is this idea created by small men who are terrified, who travel in packs. When you first came to jiu-jitsu, you couldn't fight your way out of a wet paper bag. Now, anyone in this room would have problems with you. I think that people who are accomplished, people who can actually handle themselves, should be less concerned with the opinions in street rep of people who may have been your friends at some point, but, are cowardly pieces of shit. Your rep matters. You're a great father. You're a great husband. You go to church. You do unbelievable work. That's the rep that matters. And you know what? Those people would admonish you for it. And when I mean those people, I mean people who are tagging. I knew a guy named Keegan who did that in high school. Do you know anybody? Well, actually, there are black guys.
Yeah,
Before Key and Peele.
My only point is I just would advise you on not caring what street urchins have to say. Nice. That's all. Unless I don't want to see you get in trouble.
It's like a Banksy and you got like a really valuable building now. I mean, that'd be cool. Yeah.
You know what I would do if Banksy painted on here? Huh. I would piss on it, and then I would find some kind of a solution that makes sure that it crystallizes over his crappy art.
Oh, stop it.